This is Congress Hall. This is the oldest surviving Capitol building under our new Constitution, and it was temporarily used by Congress while they're waiting for the District of Columbia to be built. So it's a 20-minute tour. We're going to have a seat in the House of Representatives. Then we're going to go over up to the Senate. Now, to get to the Senate, we'll be going up some very steep stairs. And the only way up and down is down up those stairs. So if you'd rather not use the stairs, you can wait for your party on the first floor. We have an iPad, and you can look at pictures while everybody else is doing the climb. All right?
All right.
Also, this building was, the furniture in the first floor is mostly replica, so we're going to have a seat in the house. But keep in mind, when you go to take a seat, make sure there's a chair, because it's dimly lit, they're black armchairs, and unfortunately we've had people who miss the chairs because they sit in between them instead of on them. I know you're looking at me like I'm a little not, like you can't believe this, right?
Right.
Every time I don't say that, it happens. So you have been informed, duly informed, okay? So be careful. Please don't eat food in our buildings. We have problems with rodents. Mice, rats, squirrels. Squirrels are rodents. And when they come in your buildings, they chew up everything. So no food, because we want no rodents. Gum. Gum. Please get rid of your gum, because people who drop their gum, and you'll see all that gum, gum gets on the floor, we can't get it up. So we don't want it even in the building. So we don't have to worry about picking it up. Lastly, remind myself, please take your electronic devices and put them on silent mode for the next 20 minutes. Well, you can do whatever else you want with that thing, as long as it doesn't disturb somebody else. If you have any questions, let me know. This is 20 minutes. If you need to leave, just leave, but you can't go through without me. And this is not Independence Hall. So if you got a ticket for 1 o'clock, you're in the wrong place, okay? This is Congress Hall. So let's go have a seat. We have a seat on the left side. So folks, if you have seen Independence Hall, which was originally known as the Pennsylvania State House, that's where the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution were adopted and signed over there. And the question was, with the Constitution, will it work? And if it works, will the people accept it as the law of the land? It was written in 1787, ratified in 1788, and the first elections were held in 1789, and we've been using it ever since. And this building did not exist in 1787. It was built between 87 and 89 to be a county courthouse. When Congress meets in New York City, the instructions in the Constitution are, you have to choose a place for the nation's capital. And the Virginians and the Marylanders really wanted the capital to be in their backyard, and they got it. That's why Washington, D.C. is down there. But there was nothing there when they chose that location. And so in the Residence Act, they say they're going to come to Philadelphia. So they leave New York City, they come here in 1790, they meet here for 10 years, and this room was used by the House of Representatives, and upstairs the Senate. But when they moved into this building, the walls of the county courthouse ended right here. You guys would all be outside. So they start out with 65 members in the House, but according to this new Constitution, the House of Representatives is the people's house. And the people who can vote, they elect their representation, but each House of Representatives, each member, you get 30,000 people in a congressional district. So how do we decide how many representatives we should have for each state? According to the Constitution, what do we do every 10 years? the census. So they count the people in 1790, they go from 65 members, and they need 40 more seats, so the building is added on. So far, so good. In fact, this is a recreation, so this is what it looked like according to a congressman's sketch of the room in 1795. That's how we know in that year James Madison liked to sit by the fireplace. All right. So this is a recreation. Mahogany desk, wall-to-wall carpeting, and the only original is the chair and the speaker of the house. So far, so good. So how's it feel to be sitting in the house today?
Good.
Feeling good? Feeling like you need to get to work?
Yeah.
Okay. You see, I don't see a lot of energy here today.
Good.
Let's get to work, folks. You get $6 a day, but if you don't show up, you don't get paid. That's the rule in the 1790s. What do you think about that rule?
Yay.
Should we make that a forever rule in the house? Shall we vote?
Yes.
If your colleagues don't show up, they don't get paid. Everybody in agreement say aye. Aye. Now we got some energy. Good job. Now, folks, we better get to work. The reason we got to get to work is because who's being disruptive in my house? This gentleman? Wait, who we pointing to?
Blue shirt.
The blue shirt.
Term limits. We want term limits.
Oh, what state do you represent, sir?
All of them, sir.
No, you don't. You got a state, you got a congressional district. Which state do you represent, sir?
The people.
No, you don't. I see Colorado on that, and there's no Colorado.
Come around where I can get elected.
No, sir. We got a foreigner here. We got an imposter from Colorado. Now, we can't have anybody on this floor who's not been duly elected. So we're going to ask this international visitor to remove himself and go up to the public gallery.
Yeah.
And don't worry, we got a sergeant at arms who'll take care of you. Have a seat, sir. I can see I'm going to have a sergeant at arms here with this rowdy crowd. How are we going to get any work get done? People have been reading this Constitution and they're unhappy with it. You think you mean a Constitution? Yeah, and you should carry your Constitution. You got a copy of your Constitution with you? You do? Good. Glad to hear it. I got my copy. Did you guys bring your copy? How can you be sitting in the House of Representatives and not have a copy of the Constitution in your pocket? Folks, the people have read this Constitution. They say it's missing something. What's it missing?
Bill of Rights.
You got it. There's no Bill of Rights in this Constitution. Who needs a Bill of Rights?
We.
That's what the people say. So when Congress met in New York in 1789, the Congress submitted 200 suggested changes to the Constitution. 200. But don't worry, because who's on top of this? Madison. And he is the head of the committee. They write 12 articles. Congress passes the 12 articles on to the states. Within 2 years, the states ratified 10 of the 12 articles. We have a Bill of Rights. So far, so good. Now, one of Mr. Madison's original articles was finally ratified. The one that was sitting out there was ratified in 1992. It took 203 years for that article to be added to the Constitution. It is the 27th Amendment. And I'll be honest with all of you, I've been around since 1992 as a grown-up. And I don't remember that event. The Constitution being changed in 1992. Does anybody remember 1992? Do y'all remember the Constitution being changed? And this is embarrassing for me as a person who likes history. I couldn't even tell you what it said. This is what it says. You ready? Do you know what it says? The 27th Amendment? Okay, well, we're talking 27th Amendment now. It says Congress can vote itself a change in its compensation. Folks, we can vote ourselves a pay raise. Who wants a pay raise? Say aye.
Aye.
Such a hard-working Congress. Well, you see, folks, the Constitution says nothing about when Congress can vote itself a pay raise. It simply said in the Constitution that congressmen will be compensated from the Treasury.
So they can just raise their money whatever they like.
They did. They kept raising themselves. Hey, I mean, is $6 enough to live on?
Nope.
Don't you think we need a pay raise? Right? Yeah. So they did, and they kept giving themselves pay raises. But the 27th Amendment says this. Congress can vote itself a pay raise, but it doesn't go into effect until an election has intervened. Now, we just voted ourselves a pay raise. You are members of the House. You have a 2-year term. And now you have to go home and stand for election. If your constituents disagree with our pay raise, what can they do when you stand to be reelected? They vote you out of office. You know what that's called? That's called a check. And I'm not talking about the kind that you get in the mail every week, right? It's a check and balance. Because this is a representative republic. Who gets the last say? It's we the people of the United States by voting. Because if we disagree with this pay raise, the Congress gives itself, that person goes home, stands for office. If we disagree, they lose their spot. The successor comes back, and that person gets the pay raise. Because remember what James Madison wrote in Federalist Paper 51. I know y'all don't remember it, neither did I. But I read what he said, and then I went and read it. So go read it. Federalist Paper 51. He says, we've given you a constitution to check and balance power. Because if men were angels, no government would be necessary. Are men angels?
Yep.
I see ladies going, You don't get to vote, ladies. Not until 1920. 4 of the 27 amendments talk about who gets the vote. That's called a check, you see, voting. So far, so good. Very active Congress here today. But we better move this story on, because the most important single thing that happened in this room on March 4th, 1797. We do it every 4 years. We just did one. You know what I'm talking about. Everybody knew that this man was going to become the first president of the United States. George Washington, right? That's George Washington. This portrait is done here in the city in 1795. Now, everybody knew George Washington was going to be elected. And the reason is that A, he won the war for independence. Now, we Americans, we like winners, don't we? I see it, go team, right? More importantly, he won the peace by not becoming the king of the United States. He lays down his sword and goes home. So when the elections are held, he's elected unanimously in the Electoral College. And after he served his first term, he wanted to go home. People wrote to him, you can't go, we're not ready. Thomas Jefferson wrote to him, the North and the South can hang together if they can hang on to you. So he's elected for a second term. Does this man, this is 1795, this is the 7th year of his presidency, what do you think? Does he look like he wants a third term? What do you think? How would you describe his expression? He looks what?
It looks sad.
He looks tired?
It's sad.
What do y'all think? He look like he wants a third term? Now, may I add a little bit more information? This is a life portrait, meaning that the artist actually was in the room painting George Washington from life. Can you imagine that? Now imagine this. Who is it that's painting it? This young man right here. Rembrandt Peale. This is Rembrandt at 18, and that's how old he was when he painted this portrait. So what do you think? Is this an 18-year-old looking at the president with kind of a, he looks old to me look? How old is old? How about about you youngsters? What do you consider old? What, how old?
Whoa.
90? 90? Oh, this young lady says 90 years old. Makes me feel good. What about the rest of us? What do you think? How old is old? 101? That is old. What do you think? You think 60? 60 and up? What about you? 80? What do you think? 70? Y'all all agree? You know, things change. When I was a child, I thought anybody over 30 was old. And folks, look at this. Rembrandt Peale will be a painter all his life. So he did a painting of himself when he's in his 60s. And you know what? The older he got, the younger he made Washington look. See that? It's 1840. Look at George Washington. He's got a halo behind his head. Does he look tired and old now?
No.
No, because he's our hero. And the reason he's our hero is because not only did he win a war, he won the peace. Because on March 4, 1797, he sat right there when John Adams, who won that election, took his oath of office right here. John Adams raised his hand, and according to the Constitution, he swore he would preserve, protect, and defend the United States Constitution. And he walked out the door. And that was it. Now, George Washington gave us some advice. He said, avoid the baneful effects of the spirit of party. How are we doing? And whoever got the second most votes became your vice president. How would that work nowadays? And who lost the election by 3 and became the vice president who would sit upstairs? Thomas Jefferson. So we Rangers wondered, why did people sit next to each other in the House? So we color-coded the two parties. Purple is Democratic Republicans. That's Thomas Jefferson's party. And the yellow are the Federalists. And that's John Adams. So you see, these are tests. We don't plan for the party system. The party system happens. And we've been still dealing with it ever since. So far, so good. These are tests to a new republic, a grand experiment. Now it's our experiment, and the world is still watching. Now, folks, I won't talk up in the Senate because it's a smaller chamber. Every state gets 2 senators, and we have more of the original furniture, so we're not going to sit in the Senate. But if you have any questions about the Senate, let me know. We're going to go up the stairs, very steep through that doorway, and when you come down the stairs, you're going to exit that door, but still be in the secured zone. And make sure you have all your possessions. Please push the chairs back so the next group doesn't trip. If you wish to leave, you're always free to leave by going through that doorway. The computer's in the corner. We're adjourning the House. And if you're senators, you have to be selected by the state legislatures to sit up there. Some people claim they have unnecessarily nice furniture up there. We'll go look. Come on out. Either staircase can get us up there, right, or out. Either staircase, left or right, or out. send it. If you have any questions, let me know. Because they're expensive. It's not like going to the paint store and going, oh, I think actually reed's going to cost you more than whitewash. You gotta look at it from the 18th century mindset. And a fancy rug that they had made. This is a replica. But you don't see that in the house. You see wall-to-wall carpeting because the county puts in wall-to-wall carpeting for soundproofing, and that's a luxury too. So don't underestimate wall-to-wall carpeting.
Does the original rug in here still exist?
No, but we got a lot of bad. They got a lot of bad press for it, and we know that they ordered it because it's in their proceedings. So we were able to recreate this because we know the dimensions. We know it was made in Philadelphia, and the Democratic Republican newspapers really lambasted this waste of public funds.
Thank you.
It's already 1 o'clock.